Hello, Void. Let's get this over with. Baby Rizzo, Alien 3. My least favorite of the Alien series. Let's get this done. Okay. It's not a terrible movie, but I personally just don't care for it. And largely that's due to the beginning. Because they do you dirty when compared to Aliens. Now, a lot of the problems with Alien 3 comes from production. As this thing's production life was a nightmare. The director hates the movie because of how much studio interference there was. The script was being rewritten constantly. Sets were built that cost millions that were never used. And the actors would often film a scene only to learn the next day that that scene had already been scrapped. So and like I said, the script changed constantly, so they had no idea what they were doing the entire time. And they didn't get most of the cast back from the first one. Only Lance Henriksen and Sigourney Weaver come back. And the actor who played Hicks was never even contacted at first about his role, other than to later see if they could use his likeness for his character's death, which is kind of part of the problem I have with this film. After everything we went through in Aliens, particularly then with Hicks, Ripley, Bishop, and Newt, the opening credits scraps nearly all of that to do pretty much a reset to zero again. So, with how much of the film was focused on Ripley's relationship with Newt and the like she went through to save her, for her to die in the opening credits is a problem. Now, the movie was made in 1992, so it's about 7 years after the original, so you probably wouldn't have been able to get the same actress to play Newt, but you could have recast. But this movie isn't interested in reprising any of those characters' roles. After that initial, after that initial scene and Ripley demanding to know an autopsy, those characters are actually never brought up again, except for Bishop, who Ripley uses who uses his battered body for something partway through the film. Those characters of Hicks and Newt are dropped utterly. The rest of the film, I don't have as much of a problem with. It's a dirty, nihilistic prison film, but that's okay. It tries to take Alien back towards its horror roots, and it doesn't really succeed, but it was trying to. Okay, so after one of the facehuggers is on the ship that they were going away on, it breaks into it. Then it cuts itself breaking into Ripley's pod, causes some acid burns, causes a fire. Their pod gets ejected and dropped down on the prison planet. Ripley is the only one that survives, and they're picked up by the prison colony there, which is pretty much a skeleton crew and a bunch of max security prisoners who this prison planet's already pretty much shut down. It's utterly ignored, but the prisoners didn't really want to leave. And so the worst of the worst stayed behind after finding God to pretty much run the facility, with only two wardens and a doctor pretty much left. And an alien gets Egg was still on the ship, so his face hugger gets on a dog, and out pops an alien, and an alien happens all over again, pretty much. I will say it's interesting that they did update the alien design to reflect it coming out of a different creature. It was definitely more four-legged and ran a bit differently, so okay, cool. They imply that different species or breeds of alien can be based on whatever they're popping out of. That's interesting. And Ripley is now in. That's a spoiler, I guess. I don't really care for this one. Implanted with an alien queen, so she's a ticking time bomb herself. I will say Charles Dutton, his role in this movie is the pretty much the leader of the prisoners, not the warden, but the kind of the prisoner who's the leader of the prisoners. Does very well. He's a great actor, and he's got a lot of charisma in this movie, which is hard to do when he's already pretty much says one of his first slides is talking about how he is a killer. So, yeah, he does good, but you can almost feel the frustration of some of the actors. That I mean, on screen it looks like as everything is going wrong, but part of me wonders how much of that was just due to the frustration of the filming process. The effects, for the most part, are okay, but the alien itself uses CG way too much. This is kind of the start of that, and it doesn't look nearly as effective. I've been debating where to put this on the MacGuffin scale. It's not a terrible film, but it's definitely the low point here. I was debating giving it about a 5, but there's enough that makes me mad about Alien 3 that I'm probably going to kick this one down to a 4 MacGuffins. There's just not a lot here. Nothing that makes this movie worthwhile need to exist. It's an unnecessary sequel. I know most people don't care for Alien Resurrection, but I actually like that one just fine, and a lot more than this one. So, I don't know how much there's to say. When the studio is fighting with the director, the movie always suffers, and this is a prime example of that. The director hates this film so much, he refuses to do a director's cut. He's given the studio an okay to recut the film and call it an assembly cut, but he doesn't even put his name on that for it. This one almost killed David Fincher's career before it began, because this movie was not popular when it came out. And it really hasn't even gained too much traction. The ending is great. It's a very poetic, fine ending to the initial trilogy. But the beginning just makes me so upset. I cared about the characters, and they're killed off in the opening credits, unable to defend themselves, just one character is impaled in a crash, another drowns in her tube. Makes a lot of the last film feel pointless. And that's frustrating. So, Alien 3, I don't like.